It's like, I don't want to know.
They're live.
Hey, everybody. How do you follow up an amazing horror movie that showed almost no violence on the screen?
How?
You bash a cowboy's head in with a hammer.
Show all the violence.
All of it. Just anyway, so we will be talking about Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2. Which did it have like a?
Why'd you go French?
Did it have a? Because
It wasn't hot.
because everybody knows about the French Quarter in Texas. Duh.
The Alamo.
Yeah, the Alamo.
Paris, Texas.
Les Allemands.
You do know that's Louisiana.
That's the
right?
guy. The guy that
I just figured I was going to keep going right down this rabbit hole.
the guy that wrote Paris, Texas. The movie wrote Texas
See?
Chainsaw Massacre.
Paris, Texas. Everybody knows.
True, I saw that in the behind the scenes.
In Paris, Texas, you have to all the street signs have to be in both French and English. It's
Before we
it's
get
the
off the
law.
rails, before we even introduce
it's
ourselves,
like, how are we not?
I'm Mr. Sir.
Oh, I'm golden.
I'm Anthony.
All right, and we are Horror Dork, and today we are talking about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2 from 1986. Tobe Hooper's absolutely bonkers follow-up to his original movie that came out like 12 years later?
Yeah, this was 86 when this came out. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 came out in 1986, and then obviously from last week's episode, know that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I'm sorry, Mr. Sir, I know that bugs you. Came out in 1974. It doesn't. I'm just.
But it is also the name of the movie, and there's other movies that are called just Texas Chainsaw Massacre that are different as well.
It's like the Suicide Squad and Suicide Squad.
No.
Oh, okay.
But
I didn't know if that's what you
it's
meant.
a different movie.
Yeah, Texas Chainsaw 3D.
Or the one from 2022. That one is just called Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's
That's
not-
what I'm getting at.
It's not called the Texas Chainsaw
No.
Massacre. Okay.
There's a whole channel called
Anyways.
TCM. But then I found out that wasn't about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That was Turner Classic Movies. But it threw me off for like a week. I was watching it going.
And the weird thing
There's
was
no
is they
chainsaws.
had the Texas Chainsaw Massacre on there.
Probably did.
Huh.
They should have.
So
So because the writer was brought up, I just want to get to an interesting point real quick. He had met Tobe Hooper, and during the 1974 film when that was coming out, and he set up because they were both from Texas, and so they both had heard about each other because they were like one of the first people to start making films in like the Houston or East Texas area, whatever. And so when they finally got a chance to meet, when the writer got back to LA, Tobe Hooper had set up a screening for him. He loved the first movie, and he had written a movie, and I can't remember what it was, but basically, everyone was telling him was like, hey, this puts you on the map as like one of the premier screenwriters of all time. And so he said he looked at that list and he said he knew he had to make some changes. So then when he met with Tobe Hooper about doing this and all this stuff, they knew that this had to be ridiculous. The first one was ridiculous, but they couldn't or didn't want to do it in the same way. So that's why they decided to go with this humorous aspect that Cannon butchered to hell.
yeah. Yeah, apparently they cut out a lot of stuff like Lefty and Stretch were supposed to be father.
What she was supposed to be his illegitimate daughter.
Yeah.
And when I
That
guess
is not in the movie at
according-
all.
But I
according to
think
the writer, that part where he sees her and he says, "I see you, sister," or whatever, little sister, whatever it is, that's when he realizes that that's his daughter. But all that's cut out, and there's supposed to be more of the comedic aspect of sex versus the Saw is like a huge running theme through the original. But it's hard to say too because the writer, and this is on one of the special features for Texas Chainsaw 2. It's I don't know if you've watched those ever, but it's the one that has all the anthology parts put in. I think the first part is
I
about
watched
like
the
script.
screenwriting one. I watched the first part.
Okay, so he's talking
It's on YouTube.
about is it?
Yeah.
So how they're like ripping through stuff, and he's literally writing pages as they're filming this.
Yeah,
And so-
the final revision was like 3 days before final day of shooting.
yeah.
That sounds
Well,
about
he
right.
said he fell asleep with the typewriter in his lap, and when he woke up, because he had been writing for like 28 hours straight or something, he said when he woke up, someone like gently rubbed him on the shoulder and was like, "Hey, dude, the movie's finished." But he loved it. The writer has nothing but good things to say about the experience on the set. Like he said, it was super challenging, but he loved every aspect of it.
And speaking on them changing like how the movie was. The original target were hippies. He's like, what would these guys hate now? And he was at a mall and he saw these guys with pastel shirts and
Guys
everything.
gals, yeah.
He's like,
Yuppies.
yuppies. That's who these guys will want to hate and kill. That's who they did. So
I mean,
So that's
from
interesting.
there,
they
from
did a good
there,
job. At
There's
that.
rumors of new Texas Chainsaw sequel coming out,
Yeah,
and
just got announced pretty much like when we started our.
yeah. So did you read what the synopsis was for that, or like the basic idea?
I did not.
Is that they're in, because like in East Texas, at least when I was like Dallas area, there's like all these new builds that are coming up all the time. So inside one of these, like, I don't know if you want to call it, not a cul-de-sac, but one of these like pristine areas that have like almost like white picket fence area. These
Yeah, like the
built
HOA
communities,
kind of houses and stuff.
they're gonna it's them, that whole community versus the deranged Sawyer family.
Ah, cool. So they learned their
Sawyers
lesson
versus
from
the
the
HOA.
last one, and they're going back
We'll
to the
see.
family dynamic.
We'll see. There's no script or anything yet, so
Oh,
that I know
yeah.
of. So,
Okay. I mean, that sounds interesting. That's a cool premise for a movie.
Yeah. I think I realized while watching this that I've actually never, before watching for this, I've actually never seen the whole movie. I think I only
Oh,
saw
okay.
the cold open, the death of the yuppies.
Yeah, the
And-
Rick the Prick and the
Yeah,
other
like
guy.
that's,
like,
I don't know
the two
how
worst
that's all I saw.
characters.
Like if it was on in like a clip show or something like that. But apparently, yeah, I'd never actually seen this one, and the because of that, I can tell you that I thought it was excellent. When you first see Leatherface,
yeah,
not when you first see him, because I'm not talking about when he's in the back of the truck.
right. With
When you first see him in the recording studio,
oh yeah, when he shows up
It
at,
got me.
at the radio station.
he's like, "Is it maybe in here?" And then the light comes on. He's like, "Man!" I'm
That's
like,
one
"What
of
the fuck?"
that's one of the greatest like.
It
jump
got me.
scares. Yeah.
It absolutely got me. And then he ricochets it off of Chop Top's head, just twing.
Now Chop Top is one of like other than Leatherface, I think Chop Top is like what everybody like. That's probably number 2 with everybody's favorite like Texas Chainsaw character.
He has a
Massacre
presence, and
character.
it's a fun presence.
Bill Moseley just it would have been a role of a lifetime if Rob Zombie hadn't come along and scooped him up for playing Otis Driftwood in the House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects.
Mm.
The other one.
The other one.
Other one.
The other one that I didn't like.
It was in like the little stuff too, like with Chop Top with that damn
His
coat
coat
hanger.
hanger. Yeah.
It would light and then
Gross.
itch his skull and then eat the flesh that it ripped off.
Music is my life. And Chop, because Leatherface doesn't talk, Chop Top has all the good lines. Like, that's like death eating a cracker.
Dog will hunt.
Well, lick my plate, you dog dick. Just endlessly quotable. I had from Rotten Cotton, I had a Chop Top barbecue shirt, and it had him scratching his plate with the coat hanger, and it said lick my plate, you dog dick on it. And I wore that to school.
And at that part, unfortunately, his poor Sonny Bono wig gets smoked. Literally, it's smoking on the ground.
Oh, Leatherface, you cut my Sonny Bono wig. And also an amazing character that's introduced in this movie is Stretch, one of my favorite Final girls. She's probably like my top 3. I love Stretch. Played by Caroline Williams.
Yep.
Yes.
What did you think of Stretch?
I really enjoyed it. I thought she was a great character in it.
You enjoyed it?
She's
in the movie, you're the character, you son of a. Don't be that way. No, she's like a really good final girl. Like and I like how
she's formidable.
Once she realizes Leatherface's weakness, she leans right into that, and I think
what I like
did
about
really good with
Stretch
it.
is
Okay, that was interesting, though.
what I like about Stretch is that she's not helpless.
no,
unless
it means hanging up a phone.
I
She
think-
can't do that.
I feel like that's
That part was-
some stuff that got cut because it kind of just leans into that sexual
Yeah,
all of a
it
sudden.
kind of comes
Doesn't
out of
make sense,
nowhere.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Like, why would a woman think that someone that looked like Leatherface would be sexually repressed? She used her feminine wiles.
She's about to get chainsawed, and she goes from screaming her head off to doing that. All of a
Because
sudden,
she
she's
saw
calm enough.
his
to do that.
lecherous look in his eyes that he was putting that chainsaw near her vagine. So
Going
she
like
was
this.
like, "Oh, okay, well."
Might have
Like,
been
clearly,
lecherous,
he
but
wants to
you're
see some
leprous.
titties. She's like, he wants to see some titties, so I'll just tease him. And it worked. It worked almost as good as that metal door that she put in between them with a really flimsy lock.
Her not being able to hang up the phone.
Yeah.
So I did have issues.
It was a thing, though.
Like that back in the day, where like if the other person didn't hang up, and I always feel like if they called from like a satellite phone or like a mobile phone, you couldn't like. Cause my grandparents used to have a car phone, and if they didn't hang it up right, I couldn't hang up the. Every time I picked it up, they would still.
Well,
be
yeah,
there
back then, if you took a call on a landline,
Well, why would you have it set up like that at a radio station?
that's just the way
thing
the
that
phone
is
lines
crazy.
worked.
No,
Yes, that's the way the phone. I'm telling you, because our
They only have
landline.
one phone line.
It maybe that you act like
on,
you
dude.
act like this was the big bustling metropolis radio station. This is a
They're in
backwoods.
East Texas.
It's a backwoods one. They had
They're
one room.
right next to a city.
Okay, and that means that we're right next to a city.
Yeah.
Well,
and
let
I
me show me
guarantee-
the amazing
I
radio
guarantee-
stations of this town.
Well, it's gone now, but there was
exactly, and they had one phone
one. Okay, in
line.
1986, there was
One phone line.
No, I guarantee they had multiple phone lines.
One.
No,
They only have one DJ. You didn't see
At that
anybody else.
moment, you don't
she had
know
to.
if
She
there
had
was one or
to.
not.
She was.
You think she's working 24/7?
So
No,
the reason,
because they shut down at
No,
a certain
no,
point. And then she
I
has
want
to
him
go
to
get
go with
sleep
this.
for like 2 hours, and then she comes back. She was the daytime, she was the nighttime, she was the drive time, she was the request line. She was all of it.
and Golden knows this
She has
because
one
he
technician.
listened to the radio station.
I did. That was my favorite.
Yeah, what was the name of it?
It was WKRB
Stop.
7
Stop it.
FM
All right, Mr.
102.6.
Seemed like
So
you
there-
had something.
Yeah, I was trying to drift the conversation back to actual points about the movie.
Well, it was tying into the movie though.
Okay. So the reason why the radio station is even being called, so why this is happening.
Well, we don't need to. Like, people have seen this, man. You know.
Have they? I didn't.
All right.
You know, like I don't want to go through a play by play.
Okay. Well, what do we think of? What was everybody's favorite?
But
kill?
like, what was your point about? Well, let's talk about that part that you brought up with the first kill of the movie.
Yeah, it's such a great introduction to, because they introduce these two guys that are driving around, and they are like the most obnoxious pieces of
Yes.
crap. And you're just like, when the hell is Leatherface gonna cut these guys in half? And it's not even that far into the movie, because literally, like, you wait like 5 minutes, they introduce Stretch, and then they're calling the radio station, they won't hang up, and
Playing chicken.
and they play chicken with Leatherface.
Yeah.
And
Or whoever's driving.
yeah, whoever's driving, but Leatherface has
Maybe it was Nubbins driving.
No, Nubbins was strapped to leather.
I know.
Leatherface has a corpse tied to him,
His own
and
brother.
and the only thing that makes it fucking scary is when they try to shoot him. The head falls off, and then it
falls to the side,
yeah,
yeah,
it falls to the side, and then you see who's holding it, and it's
They're like,
fucking,
"Ah!"
what the fuck? And Leatherface just drives by with a chainsaw on them. It is incredible, and
Yeah.
it's such a great start to the movie. Like, the first one I said was like solidly like a 70s movie. This is an 80s movie and a half.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, and nothing is left to the imagination either. Like, in the first one, you're just like, you gotta, like, you're kind of like having to picture like the hanging meat, what's hanging on the meat hook. And this one, there's just body parts fucking hanging there. The guys, the Sawyer family they live in like fucking nothing but trouble house.
Yeah.
And it's just
Underneath an amusement park set up to like Civil War battles.
Nam land.
So,
Napalm!
but and those guys are idiots. The guy driving and stuff because
Yeah.
they're like literally keeping up with them.
Yeah.
And
Oh
they're-
yeah. They
like-
deserve what they got. they
like
deserve.
the Sawyer
to
family's
be
driving
cut in half.
backwards in a truck, and they're going right along with them the whole time, screaming. Like, no point do they try to hit the brakes, speed up, or anything. They're like, let's just keep the same speed and hope it doesn't hit us with that chainsaw he's using
And
to
the-
take up out the door.
And the one guy's got these sunglasses on that are like these like
100%
holographic
80s.
3D things,
Yeah.
and he calls himself Rick the Prick. Like, come on, man, you're just asking to be like cut in half.
Yeah.
You need
Yeah,
it.
it's
You
got,
need
like-
to get your head like fucking sawed.
Doesn't it have the holographic eyes on it?
Yeah.
Look like golden eyes.
Those were huge back then. Those were huge back then. Like it was a time for weird sunglasses because there were those. There were like the ones that looked like Venetian blinds. There was the ones that were like
Those came back.
They look like Venetian blinds. That's awesome.
they do. I think I don't know.
Those came
Is that the
back
right
in
term?
style in like the
Horizontal blind?
late aughts.
They did, and like
Kanye West was wearing them
it was just like that was like back then.
Still
you
have
just
some in the
wore
bedroom.
and
weirdest
before he was
fucking-
canceled.
Right. You just you have to wear the weirdest sunglasses back then, and that made you cool. Also, by wearing them,
I
at
don't know
I
if it made you
make-
cool.
It made me cool.
I don't know if
okay?
it made you
But it
cool.
I was cool. I
It,
was.
it didn't make this guy cool for
Yeah,
sure.
well, it
No, it didn't.
It made it very cool when like it was a convertible. The top became a convertible, and so did his friend. His
Yeah,
friend
his
also
friend
was
got-
a convertible.
Dude, so
Yeah, and
just-
that's
is it
brings
a
me to
different
another
version
part.
on Max.
Well, I don't know.
Is there, like-
'cause I only
That's
watched
what
that
I
version,
watched.
so I don't.
Yeah,
know.
because like I feel like I remember his head, the top of his head, getting like sawed into.
On Max, I saw it. Like
Yeah, but I just felt like there was more. I don't know, and I thought I remembered like the beginning being a little different too, with them guys driving around in the beginning.
It's been a little while since I watched it, so I can't really speak on how different
I
it
know, I
was
wish I
from
still
that
had-
stream.
'Cause
I
I
did,
used to have like the gruesome edition, and I had that first Blu-ray that came out, but I sold all that,
during
so
the
I didn't have anything to go back to.
Well,
for
and while
this.
we're speaking on the effects, these are done by Tom Savini,
Mhm.
so there's a noticeable like upgrade in like the gore effects, and there's like a very, what they're showing everything, they're
Which is
showing
why they
Chop
could
Top
show everything.
smashing a guy with a hammer,
It's very
repeatedly.
Savini-ish, yeah.
fucking Leatherface peeling flesh off this guy is so gnarly.
and I had a fun giggle during this one because like during the first one, remember I was laughing because she was in a chair that had like human arms, and I was like, oh, she's in an armchair. So in this one, Stretch has handcuffs. It's actually skeleton hands.
How that
Like,
would
and I was
never
just-
work.
I laughed so hard about it. Like when
Well-
it came up, I'm like, they got handcuffs, and I'm like, tee hee hee hee, and I laughed.
The part I kind of laughed at was Lefty reaching down with the skeleton hand and her like that would never work. What are you doing? So it was kind of goofy.
Like, here, take my hand.
Use my strong hand. Dennis Hopper is really giving it his all in this movie too. In a role where he could really just phone it in, but he isn't. Like, I don't know if it is probably. I don't think this is out of line to say he's probably fueled by some substances. He definitely in the scene where he's supposed to be hungover, where Stretch comes to his
Hotel room.
hotel room. He does not look like he's acting hungover. He looks legitimately in the throes of something.
Yeah, like Savini's makeup is good, but it's not.
I know you can't be.
So,
Those are some bags, my
so
man.
I think one of the most
in the bag.
unbelievable parts of this movie is the chainsaw salesman trying to get Dennis Hopper to test the chainsaws after he's already bought them.
He didn't try. He said you can test it out if you want.
Why? Like, no salesman's gonna do that. Like, the dude comes in and throws down cash and goes, "I'll take these 3 chainsaws." You go, "All right, have a nice
No,
day."
well,
You don't go, if you want, you can take them outside and go ahead and tear into that log I got out. He's just gonna
No,
go,
But
"Have a fucking day."
one thing
you saw that guy's reaction to it. He
Exactly.
loves it. He loves that shit.
he
He's like,
wants people
yeah.
to do that. That's why it's
That's
there.
why it's
That's
what
his
get
porn.
it's what gets him rock
like,
hard.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, you saw that. Saw that one.
I mean, he was
Yeah.
selling the most amazing chainsaws that could go through anything, because like it is Dennis Hopper made his way down.
He's like chopping
in
it
the-
with like
he
a
chopped
like a
every
sword.
every beam, like every load bearing beam on his way down. He's like, me.
So they were never caught in the first movie after, well, you get the opening crawl and
That was I
Sally said,
forgot
yeah,
about that. I was like, that is such I was like, I couldn't remember, like, how the fuck did they get away? They just hand wave it, like,
Yep.
big time.
But they moved the bodies that they had.
Yeah, they moved Franklin.
Franklin's there.
Franklin's skeleton, he's
In
still
fairness,
holding
he's
on
in a
to
wheelchair.
and he's still holding on
that's the
to
easiest
a
body to move.
flashlight, which was that is how Lefty is Franklin's uncle.
And
Yeah,
well, what if
so-
it wasn't Franklin? What is? I mean,
They do.
I guarantee they killed more than one person in a wheelchair. Just saying.
Stop it.
You just automatically assume
many
it's
people
Franklin.
Yes, I
in
do.
wheelchairs do you think were showing up? to
Because
their
he's
house?
like, I got you, brother. Oh, bring it all down, you devils.
Nomland. And
You're
then
an
he gives,
idiot, brother.
the chef brother an enema, a chains enema, just wham,
Got his hemorrhoids.
right in,
Saved
right,
him a doctor's visit.
right in the
Burned his beans, is what he said.
Yeah.
He burned my
He
beans.
just hides under the table.
Man,
complaining.
I wish I would have wrote down some of the stuff that he says, because he has some good lines too.
Yeah, the cook is so good in this movie.
Yeah, he's really, they
get
really
a
let
name
him
for
shine.
him.
They get him, yeah, they give, that's
He's
what I
the
wanted
only
to bring
returning
up.
actor.
Yeah, he is.
Well-
Gunnar Hansen's not Leatherface.
Gunnar Hansen, and they wanted Toby Hooper wanted the hitchhiker back, but at damn, I forgot his last name again. His agent couldn't cut a deal with Cannon. Big surprise after hearing what they offered Gunnar Hansen. Did you hear that story?
No.
So they offered Gunnar Hansen the day rate plus 10%, and they said, well, what's it? They said the 10% was for your agent. And because he didn't have an agent, when they came back with a counteroffer, they offered him a day rate without 10%.
What scumbag. God,
And then
that's...
said,
I wonder
it's
why
not like
Cannon
nobody-
isn't around anymore. They did
The
not
worst
survive
of
the
the worst,
80s.
dude.
and then they said like it's not like anybody's gonna know it's him in that costume anyways. Like
Give me a
basically saying
break.
you're just replaceable because your character's all masked.
Well, and then the actor is barely in the movie,
Right.
as it's the stunt guy, because the actor couldn't lift that huge chainsaw over his head. At least do it well for the camera.
Yeah, so you gotta pay for the big dude.
So most of the Bubba that you see in the movie is actually the stunt double, like 90% of it or something like that.
Yeah, and that's something that this movie introduces. They expand on the lore a little bit. They give the characters names. Leatherface is Bubba, or Leatherface. That one pretty much already had a name, but they give Drayton Sawyer is the cook. They Chop Top. The Chop Top is carrying around at certain points a corpse puppet, and that's Nubbins from
Nubbins.
the first movie. He was the hitchhiker.
This
And also returning is Grandpa, a different actor, and Grandpa is even like that is an even more insane looking
Yeah.
looking guy. In a
I really thought
costume.
Golden was gonna add something there, but he didn't.
You really thought that the Grandpa was golden? He's not that old looking.
hurtful. I would, you know what? I would like. It was funny when I was watching this, and
Well,
I
if you
was,
watch back when you
I
say
was-
the Grandpa, I cut Ray Golden.
I was thinking like, you know what would have been a fun crossover
What's that?
would be the Texas Chainsaw Massacre family and Motel Hell.
Yeah, those guys
Similar ideas.
they get along. I think.
Would it be far fetched if you found out that they were part of the Sawyer family?
I don't think it would be. I think because they have the similar ideas. They use cannibal meat, and it's a family recipe, and then they sell it
in
to
the garden
people.
or something.
What's
I
that?
can't remember
Oh,
anymore.
they were.
No, they buried them up to their
The
head.
difference
Yeah.
between Motel Hell and Texas Chainsaw Massacre is Texas Chainsaw Massacre uses only free range meat, whereas Motel Hell is caged. It is. I'm just saying because they would in Motel Hell they would
was
capture
he
them.
like watering them at some point, and he had like that?
Oh, he was feeding. No, he was
thing?
feeding them through. So he would bury them up to their neck. He would cut a hole in their trach,
Oh yeah,
and then they would put a funnel system in. And then when they were ready, he would tie the tractor to their necks and pull them out of the ground so it would snap their neck on the way out. getting him ready. It was
He had a process. He was
did.
efficient.
it almost like the Sawyer family does. They go with the old ways of hammer to the
They
skull.
have that food truck.
Yes. Yeah.
What is
the
that?
chili.
Dude, the cook is awesome. He's
Yes.
my
Yeah,
favorite.
he's so
character.
funny.
He keeps winning chili cook-offs.
Yeah.
It's all about the meat.
And she finds that tooth or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, peppercorn."
Yeah, right. Oh man, one of them whole peppercorns. Like you're not
He's
even
a great character. He's
filtering
so
out the
funny.
meat when you make your chili. Okay.
It's sex or the saw, boy. You only get to pick one, something like that. When he finds
Yes.
out, they find out. Well,
Saw's family, which
Bubba's got a
is-
girlfriend.
which sort of becomes the mantra for the series, the Saw's family.
Then I like that he puts Stretch's friend's face on her. Just like
yeah.
Yeah, I think he was like trying to hide her or something.
he was, but it's just like of all the things that
Yeah, I know.
he's like, hey, look, you know him.
And then the dude wakes up and he
Wakes
has.
up, he's like,
missing
Stretch, I
skin.
always loved you.
Yeah, this movie's pretty funny. You got to go in wanting like a Gonzo style movie. If you watch the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and you're like, I love this. You're getting into horror. You can
Want more
stomach
vibes
old
like
horror.
that.
Yeah. Just be forewarned before you go to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, because it's like, well, I can't say it's like nothing else in the series, because the series is just almost Gonzo from that point on, at least for the
Right.
next couple sequels.
It
Right, like
definitely
they-
follows the path that a lot of horror movie series do, where the first one is gritty and very serious, and then the second one they're like, let's turn up the funny in this, and then from there it just goes.
Phantasm,
Evil Dead,
Evil Dead.
Yeah, but
Nightmare on Elm
do you
Street.
feel like Phantasm
I mean, I'm sure waited till
got
3.
comedic? I just feel like it just got weird
Got-
because they were able to explore like the alternate universe more and stuff.
Yeah, I think
Or dimension.
I think what I was kind of getting at is it becomes like grander in scale,
Okay.
like Phantasm and Evil Dead.
Yeah,
They do
a
have,
lot of
like,
the
'Cause I think
series.
he was like,
they were going for like a more of like a satire kind of vibe with it, but it is more like actual sets. They have Tom Savini doing
Yeah.
gore effects and stuff. The set is insane. on
'Cause
this
when I was
movie. Their
thinking
house is crazy. It's like
about-
Pee-wee's Playhouse with on fucking as
Cannibal.
painted, yeah, by a Cannibal Corpse album cover.
yeah, I was thinking like,
Oh,
when
well,
Golden said
huh?
that, I was thinking like Friday the 13th, especially once you get into like 6 and 7, even 5,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
and
yeah,
then Halloween, of course, and Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street.
specifically.
Well, Nightmare on Elm Street, like I said, I feel like they waited till 3 to really lean in more to the comedic. I don't remember 2 being that well done for it, but 3
I don't
definitely
think-
was.
you-
3
do
was
you remember?
my favorite.
You remember a bird like flying around and exploding, and then
Yeah.
saying what? It must have been the bird seed that they gave it.
Yeah. Or the heat. It was too hot till the bird exploded.
I mean,
There's
It happened.
some
He-
the
yeah.
dog with the face on it.
Yeah, I think you just
I think you've only watched that movie one time, and you didn't really care
I
for
did
it.
not.
Yeah, so I think you
was-
need to watch it again.
ugh,
You will be watching it again because I
ugh.
think Nightmare on
I'll
Elm
wait
Street
till
is
then,
going to
because
be a series
I'm not
we will be
gonna-
doing.
I'm not going to force myself into it until you guys force me to do it.
It'll
be a
it'll be a 2 against
Slow
1
burn.
argument too. Because
Slow burn.
I also like that
so
movie.
he's gonna
I just didn't
someone's
like
gonna be
2.
arguing that 2 is better than the first one.
Nobody will ever argue that.
Just
You
joking.
think 2's better than the
No,
okay,
you said 2 against 1
Oh,
Oh, jeez.
oh my God.
argument.
Everybody knows that Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors is the best Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
So Anthony, did you want to talk about
Take that to my grave.
All American Massacre a little bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
So All American Massacre was a independent film that was started in the 90s, if I remember correctly, by a indie filmmaker that wanted to create a prequel / sequel. No one's ever really seen this movie, so it's unclear of exactly what it is, but it was apparently mostly made, and it has Bill Moseley as Chop Top in it. And I heard about this movie in like the early 2000s when they were kind of advertising about trying to get it finished and put out. and it just never happened. Like the last update on it was like during COVID, and they were trying to do a Kickstarter, I think, for it, and yeah, I don't think it's ever coming out. But like some clips have surfaced. There's been trailers for it. I would like to kind of see it. It looks kind of bad.
Yeah.
but it's got Bill Moseley as Chop Top in it, and Bill Moseley's really like kind of taken the Chop Top character, and like he's really kind of uh done other things with it. I actually this week for this episode I I listened to some of Bill Moseley and Buckethead made a few albums under the band name Corn Bugs, and they put out some albums, and Bill Moseley is Chop Top in it, and he wrote like poetry and stuff, and then it's just Buckethead just shredding and stuff over it. It's actually I last episode I said it was like noise. Some of it is, but a lot of it is just like guitar shredding and stuff. It's actually really good. I got a couple song recommendations. I got the song Corn Bugs from the album Skeleton Farm was really good. Brain Dead from Rest Home for Robots and Spot the Psycho from the same album. Rotten Meat from Celebrity Psychos, and Stalker from Donkey Town. Those are some Corn Bugs recs. If you like guitar rock and really kind of avant-garde kind of stuff, I think you'll dig it. I had fun with it. It was a lot better than I remembered it being, because I downloaded that stuff like when it came out on Napster. That's how long ago it was, and I was not into that kind of stuff back then. But now my tastes have matured a little bit, and I kind of was into it. Sorry, I kind of took over the show for a minute there. Jump back in.
Okay, I was looking up the one point that I wanted to bring up that I thought was really cool. So like I was
we'll just fuck my point. It's fine.
I mean, fair. I always like looking up trivia, like when we watch one of these movies and stuff. And the one that I thought was really interesting was the one talking to Stretch, where she says that her character appears in 2 more movies. One of them was in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, and one wasn't. Even unofficially, she's in 3 as the reporter. The director of that said, "No, that's Stretch. That's Stretch. We're not gonna credit her as Stretch, but that's Stretch." And then same director did Hatchet 3.
Oh, right,
Hatchet 3, she played Stretch as well, even though it wasn't called Stretch. But that was her as a reporter again.
Movie.
So I just thought that was really cool that they're like, "Oh, hey, she's
Hey,
thank you.
That's the legacy character that I would like to see come back. They should, like, if they bring like Sally is whatever, but like Stretch is like Stretch is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre final girl that I like.
Well, I mean,
they should definitely.
She definitely had more fight.
But having her in it, like, I guess like the continuity would be strange, because Leatherface clearly gets fucking murdered at the end of that movie. Like, he gets the chainsaw cut through him, his legs get cut off. Like, there's really no way for Leatherface to be back. But again, these movies, the continuity is completely nonsense anyway. It's like, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, Chop Top,
just bring her back. Like,
Chop
it doesn't
Top
matter. Who
could have
gives
come
a
back.
fuck?
Chop Top definitely could have been.
Oh yeah. I feel like that was
101 is if you don't see the dead body completely dead, and even sometimes if you do, they weren't really dead.
Yeah, he really didn't get. He only got he got grazed on his belly and then fell down that hole. He didn't really.
I mean,
he
definitely isn't walking really good the next day, because I mean, that hurt.
Whoa,
sure, that hurt.
Come on.
Well, neither does his brother that took a chainsaw to death.
No, there's a lot of stuff, especially around the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequels, 2 and 3, where there's all this studio interference, and there are like deleted scenes for part 2 that they're in terrible quality, but they're on some of the special editions of the releases of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. But 3, I would just really like to see what that whole original movie was before they just chopped it apart and reshot it.
Chop-topped it.
Chop-topped it. Yeah. Gave it a metal plate.
I don't see it but when I read about the storyline about like how Stretch was his illegitimate, I feel that wasn't necessary.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Like he doesn't have to be
There's
related
a-
to her to actually
They seem to
care about her. Like he could
there's-
very well see her as Sally, because by the time he gets down there and it's like, I see you, sister, he's gone. He's deranged. I
There's
think.
Yeah.
there's like a whole version that Toby Hooper said that was supposed to come out in the movie that just storylines that got hacked and nothing. Not just that, but I'm pretty sure a lot of it has to do with the whole sex and saw underlying thing going on, because they really set out to make a comedy film when they made this. And he said the version that came out, and a lot of directors do this, I realized that when the movie comes out and it has mixed reviews, or even in 1986, I'm sure it had way worse reviews. There wasn't as many people that were clamoring for it as there is now. Because
it was the monster.
yeah, he's like, oh, studio interference. Like, I didn't get to make the movie I wanted to make, but I'm still, and then we'll never get his director's cut, but still would love to see what
I know there were
wanted to make there.
scenes they mentioned a few times in like the trivia that there were scenes of the family going out to hunting for the prime meat, which would have been nice too.
Yeah.
Because again, it showcases this family as ones that just protect their home. like obviously when you watch them and you see what the family's like, that's not them. But a lot of, like in the first two movies now, they really kind of lean into like they were just minding their own business at home.
What the hell does Dennis Hopper say? I'm the new harvest, and then the cook's like,
I'm the
Lord of the Harvest.
Lord of the Harvest.
He's like, what the hell's that? Some new health group?
Yeah, because
Pay him off.
So yeah, the cook is not putting it together that Dennis Hopper is there to kill them because they're murderers and have been killing and eating people. He thinks he was sent there as from one of their rival food
trucks
people, some rival business.
Makes you wonder. It does raise a couple questions. One, did this happen in the past? And two,
Yeah, for real.
It could
Has
tie
this
into
worked
the next
before?
generation a little bit, where the government's hand waving all the stuff they
Yes,
do.
that's what we'll get
Or
into
the
that more when
Illuminati
when we talk about that movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean that also goes into how it was so easily. Yeah, they didn't find any evidence of this family being here, even though there's bones, skeletons.
I mean, that screams cover up. Like if that was real,
But
right.
and you found that in the
Right.
news.
But is the cover up because it's the government's plan, or is it more the police force doesn't want to admit that this family's been killing and eating people for decades?
Well, they'd
Because
also
with that
been
much
like,
evidence, it's like, oh, they've been under your nose this whole time, just killing people, and you haven't found them.
they've been like also like defacing graves and stuff too. I mean, they would obviously been the same people. I don't know.
Right.
But that goes. Yeah, it goes.
I think
It kind of makes that kind of plot, kind of contrivance, make sense in a way, in a movie kind of way.
There are worse ways to decrease the surplus population.
Right.
So do you think therefore, do you think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a prequel to Soylent Green?
No.
Like the government was like, you know what, this works really well, killing people and feeding them to people. What if we did it on a global scale? Just saying, maybe Soylent Green is Texas Chainsaw Massacre in the future. And by future, I mean I think Soylent Green took place in 2023, so it's now historic documentation.
And there's already like a company that makes stuff called Soylent.
Which why would you do that? Like, I mean, other than I guess it's free advertising,
right?
Because if you make a product called Soylent Green,
somebody-
people are gonna be like, "Oh my God, look at this! There's this thing called Soylent Green."
Did you pay?
It's not called Soylent Green. It's just called Soylent. But
Speaking of the music, did you pay attention to the score in this movie?
yeah, it's crazy. Like the beginning part,
so cartoonish.
The beginning part was like, and I saw Toby Hooper was one of the guys that did the music on it. And the beginning part, I was like,
well, he did in the first one too.
This was like the Psycho part, the Psycho theme, but done by just like hammering all the keys incredibly hard. It's what it sounded like to me. The score in this movie is crazy.
Like that.
And then when the credits kick on, after it shows Stretch like flinging the chainsaw, and then like this really goofy fucking like reggae song like kicks on, and I was like, what in the world is going on in this movie?
Because in the first movie with that, or whatever.
Yeah, I love
It
that.
was Toby Hooper on the violin, like pressing down as hard as he could to get that noise.
And I wanted to bring that up in the last episode, but my point got completely lost to me.
That never
That
happened.
sound is so iconic. I love
Yeah,
that.
By the way,
That sound,
gotta
I
play the
love that
game.
sound.
I was incorrect. It was
You got an Xbox, right?
Yeah.
Do you have
I don't have
Game
Game
Pass?
Pass.
Oh, it's free if you have Game. Well, it's included in Game Pass.
Gotcha.
So
I might have
Soylent
to
Green
do
was
that 'cause
2022. By the
my
way,
son
I
plays
was
that.
wrong.
What?
Soylent Green was 2022. I was
Yeah.
way off.
Well, you're old. It's
So
okay.
again, it's historical documentation now. Real. Soylent Green is people.
All right.
It's
Where does
people.
this movie rank with your Texas Chainsaw Massacre ranking?
Well, definitely right now, I think we would agree that. Well, I don't know, maybe not. For me, the original is still the best.
Yeah.
So I'm ranking this one.
I mean,
It's second out of two.
all right. So part 2 is like honestly like more of a vibe of a movie that's more of my vibe. Like that one is more like a movie that I feel like I could rewatch or have on in the background or whatever, as opposed to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I kind of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which I kind of have to be in the mood for. You kind of have to.
You have to.
Like,
want
I do.
gritty
That is.
feel.
However, it's a better movie. I think like it is like everything comes together a little better, and it is more of like this one. Like part 2 just is sort of more like. This is what you hogs want, right? This is what you really want, right? This is what I'm gonna give you guys. You wanted blood and gore? Okay, here you go. You can have all the. It's like your dad catches you smoking a cigarette. Yeah, you gotta smoke the whole pack. Yeah.
Too bad it didn't get it out of its system for the third one.
Like I would
Yeah,
say,
I mean, yeah.
I would say number one is obviously the most iconic, and just as far as horror goes, that's going to be number one. But like agreeing with Mr. Sir, number 2 is better for the vibe I enjoy in movies. Like whereas I can obviously sit there and look and say, yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a better horror movie than 2, but 2 to me is a more fun movie, more quotable, more things that's going to stick into your memory. I think than number 1.
So, I just wanted to get into. We can maybe talk a little bit about what Toby Hooper was up to in between the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and then part 2, because he did quite a few things in between then. I'm not sure how many of these movies you guys are familiar with.
Before you get to that,
Sure.
I also heard that the only reason he signed on to do the sequel, and I don't know how true this is, was because he got a 3-picture deal, but one of them had to be a sequel for the Texas Chainsaw
That's
Massacre.
what I heard that as well. I'm pretty sure I saw that in one of the behind the scenes documentaries.
So shoot,
Yeah.
because I probably have some stuff to say about those movies.
Okay, so first up is Eaten Alive, which
Okay.
has I'm not a fan of that movie.
It's all right.
Yeah, it's got an alligator that
It's got
eats people. It's got Robert Englund in it.
Yeah, Robert
as
Englund.
like a trashy creepy guy.
Bayou Boy.
Salem's Lot,
Yeah, I enjoy
heard of
that.
it.
The TV movie.
the TV movie. Yeah, The Fun House. I've never seen that.
You never seen The Funhouse?
No,
Okay.
that might be one that I'll have to check out.
Wait, what year was The Funhouse?
Funhouse was 1981,
Okay, yeah, because it definitely fits in that early slasher like style.
and
I don't think it's great, but it's a need to watch for a horror fan.
now the next one I know that we all have good opinions on is Poltergeist.
Okay.
You mean the first horror movie I ever saw?
Ooh. Yeah, what that's the first one? That's a good one. That was
That's
a fucking scary movie.
That's so
I
crappy.
showed my daughter that one and she actually got a
That
little
one
freaked out by that.
that one scene lived rent free in my head for so long.
Which
and
one,
it's
the
the one-
clown?
No, and not the clown actually, because I don't have clown. It
The
was
Evil Dead tree.
It was him staring in the mirror,
Oh,
peeling his
yeah.
face off.
So,
Like as a kid, I'm just watching that, going, "Can you do
Yeah.
that? Can you just peel your face off?"
and just real quick on the Poltergeist, like it's so crappy for Toby Hooper, or at least it was, because everyone says Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, and
directed it.
everyone like
It's like you
assumed
think the guy that directed the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and these other movies couldn't direct the
he
Poltergeist?
did other stuff in between that too. Like he's a good director. Like he did that stuff. Like Steven Spielberg, like just
Listen-
kind of came up with the ideas and stuff. And he was kind of, I think he was just kind of there to get more of the Amblin vibe, but he did
Well,
not
no, I
direct.
mean,
he did not ghost
They were
direct
friends,
the movie.
and I feel like he was probably really hands-on in the production. It seems like Tobe Hooper appreciated
Well,
that
yeah.
style when he made movies. He would take input from multiple people.
And this is Steven Spielberg in the 80s. He was very hands-on with like all the Amblin products and projects and everything. And that was like one that he kind of came up
But
with.
Don't tell me Tobe Hooper didn't direct.
No, I'm not. I'm
not
not
you.
one of
I'm
those
saying,
guys
yeah.
ever. I'm not under that mindset. Life Force.
Isn't that the space vampire movie?
Yes,
Yes.
and that movie rips. I actually Anthony got that one for me on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
It's a good one. I got the Scream Factory. I think
it's
the
a
movie's
need,
cool.
Need to watch if you're a Tobe Hooper fan.
Yeah, it's sort of like Alien, but the alien is a vampire.
Yeah.
It's like
Like
basically what
energy,
yes,
lightning thing.
like it sucks your life force out. That's what it does. Leaves you like a little black, like prune looking thing. Invaders from Mars.
Dude,
And
great
that's
book.
another one I don't think I've seen.
Really, that's probably his best film besides Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
That one came out the same
and
year.
Poltergeist,
And I
but
mean,
out
we're
of those,
talking.
like unheard of, that unwatched you've seen. That one's probably
That one I might check that one out later because that sounds good. So that's what he did in between the first one and the second one. So it's a pretty spectacular run of movies
Yeah.
and stuff like a TV show.
Very like running the gamut too. Like
yeah,
like,
very versatile.
those
Like
are
he has a
not one
genre.
style.
No, he's a genre movie director. Like
Yeah.
some of them are sci-fi, some of them are horror. Yeah, and like Eaten Alive is whatever. It's sort of I remember watching that one because I was so obsessed with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it was on IFC, and I TiVoed it, and I was like, man, this is what he made after the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
But was it
It's like-
before? But was it before like anybody really? Before it like got traction? Before Texas Chainsaw Massacre? You know what I mean? Like, was he making this before anybody really knew how good Texas Chainsaw Massacre was, and that's why? Because he's like, well, I still got to make the rent. So let me.
came out 2 years
But they
after,
didn't
so
make-
I don't think so.
But they didn't make a lot of money off the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because there's that whole thing with what is the name of the because what happened is they split the company for funding for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I can't remember. Oh, it's bugging me. I can't remember the name of the group. It was Mafia ran. So
Nice.
so when they were giving people points and actors and whoever points for finishing the film, they were getting points from the part that Tobe Hooper and what's the writer's name? Len Heichel. I can't remember his name. And they had sold most of their rights off. So it was like people were just not making money. This mafia company was, and they got sued and everything. But so no, he wasn't really making money for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. But fortunately, being the director, got his name out there.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good calling card. It's that movie, I mean, for real.
Damn, what the hell was I gonna say? What were we talking about right before that?
We're talking about what Tobe Hooper was doing. In
I was
between.
talking about, okay, so you had mentioned Eaten Alive. So real fast, just side story. We talked about how my dad's cousin owned that movie place, and I would go and rent. So sometimes I would just rent like themes, and I rented like because someone had told me that fucking movie Alligator was a good movie. So I rented
lied
that.
to you.
I rented Alligator 2. I rented like, Eaten Alive and some other stuff. And I was out of the bunch, though. I feel like, I don't know, Alligator's kind of fun, but Alligator 2 sucks. Don't listen to anyone like that tells you it's a good movie. It can be fun, but
It wasn't until Crawl where we had like
Yeah.
really good alligators.
See, I've never been a fan of that style of horror movie.
Neither have I.
Like, For
Big
some reason,
creatures.
you show me something that's just like, oh, it's an alligator. Well, you know what? Alligators eat people all the time in real life. I don't want to watch that. I want to watch like a crazy monster or a psycho family that
movies?
eat that. I'm not into shark movies. Well, I'm into shark movies, but not realistic shark movies. Let me put it that way. Watch like
You didn't like
Sharkenstein.
Crawl.
What?
You didn't like Crawl?
I
Was it because you hated the producer?
Crawl
How dare you.
is
How dare you? I don't know what it is.
Crawl's the exception to that.
Dude,
like I
that's like
thought
a-
that movie
that's
was
like a-
awesome.
At that point in time, maybe it was a little bit too late for it, but it was like a dream team come together with Sam Raimi and Aja.
When someone told me like oh, Sam Raimi,
Yeah, I
and
wish it
they're
was way
doing this
earlier.
movie called Crawl, I was like, oh, I can't wait. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, oh, it's just okay. And it was a severe disappointment for me just because I'm not into those movies. I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying that's not the style of horror that I
Old
enjoy.
episodes from what 2015 is that when it came out, something like that. Golden's all over it. He's talking about the special features.
How dare you? No, I don't know. That's just a style of horror that I've never been into. Like
I wasn't ever really big into like the monster creature feature kind of things either. I am more of Golden style of like it's got to be like a dude or if it is a creature, it's got to be like a crazy monster.
It has to be a dude.
It's got to be
that is my style.
a crazy creature.
Gotta be a dude in a mask, Scooby Doo style.
Some lumbering monstrosity.
I don't know. I feel like if I can see your main killer at the zoo or the aquarium, I'm not.
I feel like that tracks with you, Mr. Sir, because I remember we were gonna watch
Giraffe.
Now that I would watch. You give me a killer giraffe movie where it's just slaughtering people, I will watch that 100 times.
But giraffes eat people all the time.
Jurassic Park.
Listen, the only animal
Just dips down, takes a hunk of your head, and
the only animal massacre movie that I would enjoy watching is if it was hippos, just because they are deadly.
Yeah, those things are no joke. But
Watch the Jumanji sequel.
Not only are they deadly, but they're also vegetarian.
have you ever seen giraffes?
Which means they kill people just because they want to kill
they're
people.
territorial.
They got those horns on their
slam
heads. They
their necks.
swing their heads like a mace and just hit the other one, beat the crap out of each other with their
Giraffes, though?
horns.
Yeah, they have those Hellboy horns.
You
that
talk about
grow
giraffes,
around
though?
there.
Yeah, those are like the
The
only
ram
like
horns.
if I get dragged to the zoo because I don't like zoos. And I not only like from like more of like not just from like a moral standpoint, but I also don't like. I think they're boring.
I
Kind
thought you were
of.
about to say not from a moral standpoint at all. It's like I'm
No.
okay with locking up them animals, but
No, not just
make
for
them
that.
do
But
something
like
fun, like kill each other.
the part of the zoo that I like are the giraffes. Like I will go out of my way to go see them, and because they dip down and like lick your face.
So, would you have enjoyed living back in the Roman Empire
I like
days
those.
when at the Colosseum they would just throw two random animals in and have them kill each other?
Why would I want to see that?
It's not boring.
I like animals though.
Okay.
There's. Would you like to see two animals kill each other? It's because
Happens in
hey,
nature
it's
all the
not
time.
boring.
It's not
You don't
boring.
like zoos. How about if the zoos were just?
I just wanted to know. I
Open
wanted to
range,
know
and
if-
all the
if-
animals were fend for themselves.
If zoo was like a
That's-
fight
those
club,
are
if
two
you would like
different
it more. That's
things.
all. That's all.
Hey,
I just
Mr. Sir,
wondered.
do you like bullfighting?
No, because the bulls aren't fighting each other; they're fighting a human
And
with
what
a
I
sword.
and I was saying from a moral standpoint, I don't like zoos because I don't like the animals locked up. It doesn't mean that I want them to be unlocked and out
Listen,
killing each
Golden.
other.
I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm just trying to see where
Sometimes
I don't
when
think
they-
the penguins
when
and
they
the
do
lions
that
should
running with
coexist.
the bulls fight each other, dude.
as they wouldn't you? I don't
know.
Especially if your choice, they're like, "Hey, we want you to run." I'd be like, "Nah." If I was a bull in the
If
running of
you
the
were-
bulls, it would be the most boring thing ever. They'd be like, "Okay, and run."
No,
Yeah.
but I was gonna say, Mr. Sure, that tracks with you because I remember when
That'd be Ferdinand the bull.
Open Water came out, or they had that special edition release or whatever it was, and we reviewed it. You were so disappointed. And you're like, wow, that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, because I'm not into those kinds of movies. But that was like a very well done.
Yeah,
But
like
did you like
version of
Deep
that.
Blue Sea?
of course.
Yeah,
Not
it's a
normal
monster.
That movie's fun
Yeah,
as shit.
it's crazy. It's got Samuel L. Jackson and LL Cool J.
I love the number
Acts
of
like a
times
Sharks fan,
that movies
all
have
et cetera,
shown
et
us.
cetera.
Number of times that movies have shown us stop messing with natural things, like the fact that that in those movies like Deep Blue Sea, they're like, what if we took this ungodly killing machine that's dumb
Yeah,
I
it's
made
a
it
huge
smart.
trope that it's constantly pointed out.
all the time because like that's what we need to do is take these deadly things that
Yeah,
the
all
only thing
scientists-
keeping them from
What's
running
my
the
all
world.
scientist has to do is say this can change.
That's
mankind."
That's one of the biggest problems I have with
Alligators.
other-
Let's make them smart.
It's one of the biggest
Right.
problems I have with those new Jurassic World movies is the last one. The message was we can live with the dinosaurs. I'm like, Motherfucker, I've just watched 6 movies where the message of the movie is these things should not exist. Why did we do this? Science was wrong. We did, but the end of the last Jurassic World movie is, yeah, the dinosaurs were cool, and we the humans were the wrong one. Like, yeah, the humans were wrong for making the dinosaurs again. They should not kill them all
Because
I don't
nature,
care. The dinosaurs
way.
are real.
We've gotten way off track. Let's just wrap this up.
Cannibals.
Jurassic Park.
You're talking about creature features and stuff.
Yeah.
So, Invaders from Mars. You reckon? What is the plot of that? If real quick, if you
It's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers and stuff, right? From what I just read, it's like aliens are brainwashing people in a small town. It's not the one that I first thought it was, which was the one with the green puppet people.
No, it is.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not Mars Attacks, but it was like there
it's
was.
the prequel to Mars Attacks.
No, I'm not even talking about Mars Attacks. That's the thing. I'm talking about.
What movie are you talking about?
There was a movie.
Spaced Invaders.
Yes, that's it. Space Invaders. That's actually the one I was talking about.
No,
Not Mars. I was talking about. That's all I was trying to
basically
remember.
Those guys aren't
What you
puppets,
think
so
from-
they're
it's-
they're like little people. And
it's like basically what you think about. It's
I'm sorry.
what?
the title says it all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's some
okay.
invaders. They're from Mars.
Okay.
Now, if it was made by the same dude that did Trolls 2, they would be from like Jupiter and called invaders from Mars. Just saying.
They turn
Troll 2
everybody
had not a single
into
troll.
green slime. That's vegetarian, apparently.
The logic behind. Okay, never mind. I'm not kidding.
Yeah, because you don't have a leg to stand on there.
Oh, I do. I absolutely do, but we don't have the time.
You think they'll ever
This
come out-
argument.
You think they'll ever come out with Troll 2 Part 2?
I hope they do. Troll 2 squared.
So what?
Give it to that director
think
again.
Texas Chainsaw 2 is a recommend from us.
Oh, hell yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. It's on Max right now. I'm not sure if it's streaming elsewhere. That's where
Cinemax.
I watched it. Cinemax. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is a recommend. Definitely check it out.
Great blend of horror and comedy, which is something I always look
Yeah.
for.
And if you want to be prepared for next week, we're going to be watching Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw
Yeah,
Massacre.
if you go
Part
into
3.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, if you haven't seen it, and you are trying to take this serious, you are going to have an awful time.
Was
And hate
Texas
every
Chainsaw
second of it.
Massacre 3 in 3D?
No.
So they didn't go with.
Like 5 is in
That's
3D.
upsetting. You can't do 5 in 3D though. You already missed the chance to call it
No, it was during
Texas
the
Chainsaw Massacre
it
3D.
was during the
It was
booming of when
early-
3D movies came back.
yeah,
Yeah, it just
early
means they're-
2000s 3D
Like the
technology.
remake
They made their
of
movies
My
too
Bloody
quickly.
Valentine,
Yep.
stuff like that.
Friday the 13th 3 had 3D.
I'll tell you after the podcast.
Jaws 3D.
Okay, a different era. Anyways,
Rana 3D.
so
Golden it all merges together because he has sisters.
follow us on our socials. Horror Dork on all of them. We have a Blue Sky now.
He's-
Well, I want to plug the Blue Sky. I like Blue Sky.
Blue
It's the one. It's the
skies!
thing that I'm going to be using. I don't really do Twitter anymore. So that is what I'm going to.
Here's
do.
the thing, just
And
follow us.
it's not invite only anymore. Anybody can sign up. So, Golden's got his movie Dingus Day. Find that and go support that. I think that's all. Check us out. We usually go live on Sundays around 8:00. We've been doing 2 movies. Before this one was Destroy All Neighbors, and we will be putting those out as podcasts you can listen to throughout the week. What are our release dates for that, Anthony?
So
You can
we usually have a
microdose us.
bonus episode, but new episodes every Thursday.
Every Thursday.
You can
So
microdose
It'll
us
just be
throughout
a
the week.
rehash of this live stream.
Yep, and that's you can find that on all the podcast catchers. So until next week, I'm Mr. Sir,
I'm Golden. Before he
I'm
takes it.
Anthony.
and this is Horror Dork.
Horror Dork.
Bye.